You're listening to the Elvis Ultimate Fan Channel podcast, the channel that is devoted 100% to the life and career of the biggest selling recording artist of all time, with your host, Steve Francis.
Well, hello everyone. How are we doing? So nice of you to join me again for another episode from Elvis the Ultimate Fan Channel. Tonight we have, of course, live phone-in free on Facebook Messenger, providing you have friended me, Elvis, not Elvis the Ultimate Fan Channel, but Steve Francis, and the profile picture is the little 2-year-old Elvis. We obviously have the final round of July's Fan of the Month, my Elvis Song of the Week. This day in Elvis history, 25th of July. Elvis Photo of the Week, which some people know it as a cold shower photo. So that's all the introductions and everything taken down and out of the way. I see Vincenzo's in the building. I saw Granny M as well. Nice to see you again, Granny M. It's always nice to see you. It's a pleasure. Ruth Daniel, hey, from Hot Memphis. Yes. AC and iced tea. Yes, indeed, is correct. I'm just looking, actually. My, beaker? Glass, whatever you call it, and my shirt actually match. There you go. I'm all sunned up today. Is the waterfall switched on, Steve? No, Lee, it's not, because it would make a noise. All you could hear is... So they've switched it off. Now, obviously, there's a reason why I'm here tonight, and that's simply because the topic is the Graceland recording sessions. Now, you're quite welcome to phone in, but I would ask you actually just to hold off. If you are going to ring in, hold off until I've done the topic, and then we'll take it from there. Let's see. Barbara Hopkins, that's actually a new name, I believe. If you haven't already, make sure that you do this, which is subscribe, click all, and that'll get you. Make sure that you do that, because if you do want to see my videos and live streams, that does actually help. Hi, Maxine. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Nancy, Jenny. So like, subscribe, share. The more people we get interested in this channel, the more people we get interested in Elvis, and that's what it's all about. People like Maxine. I'm sure Maxine is quite young. I'm not going to say how old she is, but I do know that Maxine is younger than me. But then again, a lot of people are younger than me, and it's always nice to see young fans coming online and saying hi and so forth. Lou Dane says, welcome newcomers. I agree. Welcome newcomers. Please do like, subscribe, and share this, and tell all the Elvis fans about it, because that's the most important thing. There's Helen. Hi, Helen. How are you doing? Helen actually does me a big favor, because when she sees any of my posts on Twitter or Facebook or anything like that, she shares them and likes them, and just helps the thing along. And that's what it's all about. Okay, so the topic is, by the way, if you do want to ring in, you do have to send me a friend request first of all. You don't actually have to send me a friend request. I think you just find the profile, and then you go to Messenger and say, hi, Steve. And when I reply hi, you can then phone me. Hi, Paul. Always good to see you. Mary Jane, Bossa Nova baby. Hi, Bossa Nova baby. I'm not younger than you, but I might look younger than my age. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Yes, I would agree with that. John says, I like hearing Larry Geller for hours. He has great stories. Well, that was something that I posted after Wednesday's live stream was part 1 of the Larry Geller interview. Part 2 is coming up on Wednesday. So if you were interested in and you enjoyed part 1, or even if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, please do. It's on this channel, Larry Geller. It's the Elvis I Knew. And then on Wednesday, part 2. Part 2 is very, very interesting. I mean, I found part 1 interesting, but part 2 is interesting as in he speaks about, he had conversations with Elvis about the movies. He speaks about Colonel Parker. He speaks about the night that Elvis, the Beatles came to see Elvis, Hygienette. It's just a great interview. It really is. And I'm sure there will be things in there that you have heard before, but there's also things in there which you probably won't have heard before. Okay, so there you go. Right. The Graceland recording sessions. Again, a lot of people is going to know. Hi, Marie. Thank you very much. Of course, a lot of people are going to know this information, but basically what it is after I've gone through this topic, maybe people can ring in and tell me what their feelings are on the Graceland sessions. So in February and October of 1976, RCA brought the mobile recording truck down from New York and parked it behind Graceland. Now, something I actually haven't got on my notes, but I do remember this, is a little distance away from Graceland, the transmission gave out and they had to get a tow truck to tow it the last few miles. So it didn't drive through Graceland's music gates under its own power. It was actually towed through the gates. So that's just a little thing that just occurred to me. I didn't have that in my notes, but that's what happened. The cables were run from into the den, which is behind me here. It wasn't actually known as the Jungle Room in Elvis's lifetime. It was always known as the Den at the rear of the mansion, and the RCA transformed the Den, since known as the Jungle Room, into a recording studio. The Polynesian-style furniture was moved out, and blankets and drapes were used to dampen the sound, because you can imagine what they'd have to do once they move all this furniture out. It would have been a little bit of an echo chamber. Hi, Jake. Good to see you. However, without proper studio baffles in use, it was difficult for studio engineer Brian Christian to achieve proper separation or isolation between vocals and instruments. And I have a little note here that on the Memories of Elvis and the volumes 1 and 2, any of the Graceland Jungle Room sessions, you can actually hear Mike bleed. In other words, you can hear the orchestra or the instruments in Elvis's vocal mic, and you can also hear the backup singers as well, which you can just hear the bleed and the lack of isolation present. But they did a good job. The 1976 sessions pose 3 questions, and the questions I have is: why did they take place at Graceland? How did Elvis's state of mind affect the music? And what was the quality of the recordings produced in the Den / Jungle Room? So number 1, with his hectic touring schedule, he wanted to spend as much time as possible at home in Memphis. With the closure of American Sound and Stack Studio, where he had previously recorded in Memphis, closed. So, that's one of the reasons why there was nowhere local for him to go. Peter Gorolnik and Ernst George Jensen, though, say Elvis was virtually forced into recording at Graceland. Okay. It was becoming impossible to get Elvis even to consider going back into the studio despite obligations of his RCA contract. So it sounds like the beginning of the sessions were under duress. Okay. Right. In his 1999 biography, Peter Gorolnik said the decision to record at Graceland was not the singers. Both Colonel and RCA were in full agreement. They needed to obtain product from an artist who had appeared to have developed an almost pathological aversion to the recording studio. There you go. Felton Jarvis, his producer, set a goal of 20 new masters, enough for the 2 contracted albums over 6 days of recording at Graceland, February the 2nd until the 8th, but only 12 cuts were completed. The sessions began each evening around 8 p.m. and finished the following morning around about 10 a.m. in the morning. After settling into the new setup, the sessions became relaxed, productive, and most of all fun. In the outtakes and studio banter, you can hear the inside jokes, the gentle ribbing, and the music discussions that every band has. According to Ernst, though, Elvis was not taking his obligation seriously. Nothing Felton could do would stop Elvis from wasting hours on Morris Albert's feelings or singing every Platters song he knew. We'll come to that in a few minutes. Danny B-side is in the house. How are you doing, Danny? The first night, everyone was waiting patiently for him to emerge from his bedroom, trying not to wonder if he was going to show up at all. On the second night, Elvis succeeded in recording just one song, while spending most of the time trying to avoid accomplishing even that. He returned to his bedroom periodically throughout the evening, took one member of the band or another upstairs to listen to gospel music, expounding upon numerology, and gave them all a viewing of his collection of police badges. The third night was no better. Most of the time Elvis appeared to be struggling just to wake up. Okay, well, I mean, maybe he was sleepy at 8 p.m. Not until the fourth night did Elvis and the band seem to kick in, according to Guralnick. Elvis got into the up-tempo For the Heart, and his enthusiasm continued with an emotional interpretation of Hurt. Now we're talking. Which included a highly charged recitation of the most melodramatic sort. Yes, darling, I'm so hurt. Then came Danny Boy, one of Elvis's old favourites. He was fully engaged, and while he was not able to sing the song in the key that he originally selected, he hung in through 10 takes until he got the version he wanted, and it was a heart-rending one as well. Unfortunately, Elvis couldn't carry the enthusiasm over to the next 3 nights. Only 2 cuts were completed on the 5th night, and only 1 on the 6th. Felton Jarvis extended the session for another night, but Elvis was a no-show altogether. So two sessions went completely with no recording done whatsoever. With barely over half the masters he needed, Felton had to schedule another Graceland session due to Elvis's extensive tour schedule, though he had to wait 8 months to get Elvis back to it. So let's go through the first of those sessions, which was the 2nd to the 5th of February. On the 2nd, Monday, and the 3rd, Tuesday. So he started at 8 and went through to 10 the next day. Bitter They Are, Harder They Fall, She Thinks I Still Care, and The Last Farewell. Then on the 3rd, stroke 4th, which was the Tuesday stroke Wednesday, he only did Solitaire, just one song. He did a little bit better on the Wednesday and Thursday, which was the 4th and the 5th. I'll Never Fall in Love Again, Moody Blue, of course, and I'll Never Fall in Love Again. That was another try at that. The 5th and the 6th, he did For the Heart, Hurt, and Danny Boy. And that night was probably the best of all those nights. For the Heart, Hurt, and Danny Boy. On the 6th and 7th, Never Again and Love Coming Down. And finally, here we go. On the Saturday stroke Sunday, he went through numerous attempts of Herb Albert's Feelings. America, which wasn't complete. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain was the final thing recorded at these February sessions. So there you go. Nowhere near enough, unfortunately, for the 2 albums. So they were back at it again, October the 29th and 30th, and they were even less productive, resulting in only 4 masters. Pianist Tony Brown described Elvis's apathy towards these sessions. He just wasn't interested. He couldn't seem to keep rhythm. He couldn't maintain any attention span. It was like we'd get one song and he'd go upstairs for a couple of hours and we'd just wait around. One example of Elvis's wavering interest, on the 2nd night of the sessions, it was the night before Halloween, and when Elvis and some of his friends returned late, they were dressed in gangster outfits. That would have I wouldn't mind seeing that. And they had guns, and that must have alarmed the newer band members. The costume party effectively put an end to the evening's work. And any pretense that the session might continue was abandoned when Elvis once again retreated to his room. Elvis put an end to such speculation by apologizing and declaring that he was simply too distracted to continue. He was upset about Red and Sonny's book, he said, and he couldn't get in the right frame of mind for recording. Felton Jarvis recorded overdubs to the Graceland tapes at Creative Workshop Studios during January of 1977. So to recap, October the 29th, stroke 30th, Friday and Saturday, It's Easy for You, Way Down, Pledging My Love. Then October 30th, stroke 31st, which we've just mentioned about the fancy dress party, Halloween. They recorded the Jerry Schiff number, just the backing track, There's a Fire Down Below. Elvis never put his vocals on that, much to our disappointment. And He'll Have to Go, they also recorded the track. Elvis did come in a lot later, and he recorded the vocal tracks for He'll Have to Go. And that was the very, very last thing that Elvis Presley recorded in any sort of studio setting. After that, there was just live recordings. Next time you hear Elvis' recording of He'll Have to Go, just think about this. Of all the hundreds of songs Elvis recorded in studios from Memphis to New York to Nashville to Hollywood during his career, this song was the very last one. He recorded his final vocal of He'll Have to Go in the Jungle Room, Den, on Halloween night, 1976. Other events conspired to keep Elvis from getting into the right frame of mind to record in 1976. Fallout still lingered from his divorce from Priscilla, and now his girlfriend Linda Thompson was about to leave him. The failed racquetball business deal still haunted him. He said, "I'm so bored," he said to Cheryl Nielsen. "I'm so tired of being Elvis Presley." Ultimately, each Elvis fan retains the option of choosing which of the Jungle Room recordings to cherish and which ones he can put aside. Maybe all of them. So, that is that. I know that was quite a lot of information there I had to sort of share with you, but I wanted to get as much of it covered as possible. If anybody wants to ring in and give their opinion on the things that I've said and read out about the Graceland sessions, please feel free. Now is the time. Let me have a little look here. Okay. Hi, who's calling Elvis the Ultimate Fan Channel? Okay. Hi, who's calling Elvis the Ultimate Fan Channel? I can hear you.
Oh, hi, Steve. It's me.
Hello, me. Who's me?
Vincenzo.
Hey, Vincenzo. How are you?
Not bad.
Good. And what did you think of the Graceland 1976 recordings?
I love the Graceland sessions. My favorite song is Her.
Your favorite song is Hurt, is it? Well, actually, that's what I meant to say when I was reading out all that about the 1976 sessions, is I am actually going to tell you what my favorite song from those two sessions are at the end. See if you can guess what it is. It's not Hurt anyway.
I like Moody Blue too.
Okay. What do you think of the decision RCA took to get Elvis to record at home? Do you think it was a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it was a good thing, actually.
You think that even though he definitely displayed a lack of focus and being able to just go upstairs whenever he wanted or go out and ride motorcycles and all that sort of thing, you still think it was a good idea?
Yeah.
You don't think the material suffered?
No, I don't think so.
And is there any song on those two albums, that's Elvis Presley Boulevard and Moody Blue, is there any song on there that you don't like and you won't listen to?
I don't like Danny Boy that much.
Oh dear. That would be one of my favorites. It's not my favorite, but that would be one of my favorites. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I just want to say I love your channel. I love your channel. I want to say.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. I mean, you've been one of the viewers from the very, very beginning. You know, we see your name on the comments every week. So, you know, your support is very, very much appreciated. Thanks very much.
Like you said, we're a big Elvis family.
Yes, exactly. That's what we are. That's what we are. We're one big Elvis family. And Keith McPhillips is saying, "Hi, Vincenzo. Great to hear you."
Yeah.
I think that
It was good talking to you. Oh.
I think that might be
It was good talking to you.
Yeah, well, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Cheers, Vincenzo. Now, that was our good friend Vincenzo. He thinks that it didn't. Recording at Graceland didn't affect the material. You know, the fact that Elvis could just go upstairs whenever he wanted or start watching television or whatever. So anybody else wants to call in and here we go. Hi, is that Maxine?
Hi, it is. How are you?
Ah, yes. Now, Maxine is a very, very regular caller. She never disappoints. She rings me every Wednesday and every Sunday.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Graceland sessions?
I think they're amazing.
You think they're amazing?
They're one of the best pieces of history of Elvis that we've got.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though he was struggling.
He was struggling. Try and tell us what you think. In what way was he struggling? Was he struggling physically? Was he struggling mentally? In your opinion?
Personally, I think it was mentally and somewhat physically as well because of what happened with the divorce with Priscilla and how it happened, and then of course he split up with his girlfriend Linda at the time.
It was coming to an end, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think he just needed a break. But you know what the Colonel's like. He pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah, well, I was looking at the touring, and it definitely ramped up after about 1973-ish. Now, I don't mean he wasn't doing tours prior to that, but I think they were more frequent after about 1973. He almost never seemed to be off the road after about 1973. Now, that's a very, very punishing schedule for anybody. But for somebody that had his health issues as well, we don't need to go into those too deeply because they're well documented now. But for somebody to have those health issues as well, he was probably depressed as well. We often say that Elvis was depressed, but it wasn't recognized. Depression probably wasn't as easily spotted and treated as it is now. And on top of all that, so yeah, in a way, I suppose you could say that he did phenomenally well getting as many records and tracks recorded under those circumstances.
Definitely he did. Even though he was a little monkey for staying in his room some nights.
Yeah.
But
well,
that's an Elvis thing.
But I mean, I often think as well, you know how the press always keep on about how, when Priscilla left, he was morose and he was, always depressed and all this and all that. That doesn't come through when you're listening to Down in the Jungle Room. When you're listening to the outtakes and the chatter and the banter and everything like that, he just sounds like the normal Elvis. He sounds like the same Elvis from 1970 when they're doing the rehearsals for That's the Way It Is.
Yeah, he does.
And, a lot of people would have been surprised hearing that because, they thought he was just a morose, ill, over 40 man, and that was it in 1976. He was washed up. I don't get that at all listening to the outtakes of these sessions at all.
No, I think because a lot of people back in them days, obviously they listened to the media more than what they did him.
Yeah.
But I think they need to sort of turn towards how he was feeling and just how his personality was. That's just how he was. He was a happy go. Exactly.
People still do listen to the media too much, I think.
Yeah.
Somebody's just said on the comments as well that I didn't mention that Elvis was in and out of hospital as well a lot, 75 or 76. So you've got to take that into account as well. But
Yeah, I heard about that as
mm,
well.
I mean, yeah, he must have been absolutely exhausted. And that's another reason why I said in my notes, didn't I, that Stax was closed and American Sound was closed. He didn't want to have to go too far to record. He didn't want to go to Nashville.
No.
So it suited everybody. Okay, thanks very much again, Maxine. Hope to speak to you again.
Okay, see you soon.
All the best. That was Maxine. I always like when Maxine rings in. She never fails, which is good. Okay, let's see what everybody is saying. He was sick and lonely, terrible combination. Yeah, wouldn't be good, would it? Not a great combination for trying to sing happy songs. Hi, who's calling Elvis the Ultimate Fan channel? Okay, let's see what everybody is saying. He was sick and lonely, terrible combination. Okay, somebody on there needs to turn down their feed. Hi, who's calling Elvis the Ultimate Fan channel?
Hello, Steve. It's Ruth from Memphis.
Well, Ruth, how are you doing? Ruth is an old friend of mine. We've spoken on here before, off air.
Yes. Hey, I just wanted to tell you guys, I was actually at the recording sessions. I was down at the gate.
Wow.
That you're talking about.
This is unbelievable. I'm all ears. Please tell me and everybody about it. Did you see Did you see the red truck arrive?
No, I didn't see that.
All right.
But I wrote down in my journal from February 2nd to February 8th. I wrote Elvis was recording 12 songs all week for an album titled At Home with Elvis. That's what they called it then.
Yeah, that's correct. I heard that as well, that they were originally just going to call it At Home with Elvis. Yes.
Yeah, and so I wrote the songs and we found out the songs from Elvis's electrician, George Coleman. He'd come down to the gate and tell us what Elvis was recording. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't hear anything from the gate,
Oh, no. Because, of course, the jungle room, the jungle room or the den is at the back of the house as well.
Right. So we couldn't hear anything at the gate, but I wrote the songs are I'll Never Fall in Love Again, Moody Blue, Bitter They Are, Harder They Fall, Hurt, Solitaire, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, Never Again, Last Farewell, Danny Boy, Love Coming Down, For the Heart, and She Thinks I Still Care.
Yeah.
Now I wrote this in 1976, so this is what we were told. America was also recorded, and this song may be on a 45 single record, and that's what I wrote, but I'm not sure if that one was recorded then.
Yeah,
but it says, and then I wrote, sorry?
It was released, wasn't it? But it was the live recording that was released, America.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
But this was February 76 when I wrote this.
That's really interesting.
Moody Blue will be the next single I wrote. Right. Then on February 6th, Mike McGregor was the guard at the gate tonight. Harold Lloyd, Elvis's cousin and night guard, was sick. Mike is a jeweler, and Elvis had bought jewelry from him. James Burton, Kathy Westmoreland, Ronnie Tutt, Cheryl Nielsen, Jerry Sheff, Glenn Hart, Dee Harden, John Wilkinson, and Sweet Inspirations and the Stamps all came for the recording session at Graceland tonight. There's a list of musicians, technicians, and RCA people who are allowed up to the house. And then I wrote, walking alongside of the fence at the Graceland, one can hear them recording with Elvis at times. And so I didn't hear much. You could kind of hear like a noise from the side of the fence. You could hear the music, like something was going on, but you couldn't tell what Elvis was recording. We were hoping we could tell.
Yeah. There's a book in there. There's definitely a book in there.
Oh yeah, I'm working on it.
Oh yeah, seriously.
Seriously.
Well, I tell you, when it's published, please do come on and give me the first interview, won't you?
I definitely will, and I wanted to let you guys know about October too, because we were there in October.
Oh, please do.
Of '76. I wrote the week of October 28th through the 31st. Elvis will be recording at the house soon. The RCA mobile unit is in the back of Graceland. And Mr. Lewis, that's George Lewis, said that Elvis ordered the back room cleaned out by October 26th. Mm-hmm. He started recording on Friday night, Saturday morning. So I'm not sure, if this is correct the way, the timeline went, but this is what I wrote down.
And the first thing you recorded apparently was It's Easy for You on October the 29th, Friday, October the 29th.
Okay. That'd be right then.
Yeah.
Okay. The guys went up to the house and started recording at 1:30 a.m. until 5 a.m. So that was like Saturday morning. Elvis is recording rock songs. I wrote, exclamation mark. Some of the band is staying at Howard Johnson's and some are staying at the Hilton. Elvis was on his three-wheeler for a few minutes Saturday night around 11:30 p.m. This was the last night he recorded too. That's what I wrote. He got mad at RCA because they brought a PA system instead of a stereo system. That's what I wrote. I don't know what that all means, but they got a small one, but Elvis got so mad he went upstairs to get a big gun. He came back downstairs with the gun and told them to get out in 10 minutes or he would blow their heads off. Here are the songs. This is what I was told from, the people that were up there at the time.
Okay.
George Coleman. Here are the songs that Elvis has recorded so far, according to George Coleman, Elvis's electrician. My Little Darling, Way Down, He'll Have to Go, It's Easy for You, and Only the Music on Fire Down Below. The session was canceled.
Yeah.
Elvis will probably resume the session in January in Nashville. That's what I wrote at the time. So that was it.
That's extremely accurate because a lot of that falls in with what we've been told over the years.
Yeah.
The only thing is, and this really piqued my curiosity, was you said that he recorded Little Darling. I believe.
Yeah, that's what I was told by George Coleman.
I wonder where that recording is now, unless it's lost. Recorded over.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we have that on the Moody Blue album, but it's the live take.
Right, it's live. Yeah, I know.
Well, that's been absolutely fascinating. I've loved hearing that. Thanks for calling in, Ruth. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad to share it with y'all.
And I'm looking forward to the book.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All the best.
Okay, you too.
Speak to you again. Bye-bye. Bye. Well, what does everybody think of that? That is absolutely brilliant to think that Ruth was actually there and got all that information. And I remember the story about the speakers. Yeah, he wasn't happy with the speakers and he came down with a Tommy gun or a big gun or something and threatened to shoot the speakers out. Patrick says, thanks, Ruth. Mel is watching. Steve, give her a hello, please. Hello, Mel. Hello. Hope you're well. And I remember the story about the speakers. Yeah, he wasn't happy with the speakers. Yeah, there's a person there actually trying to call, but what they need to do is they actually need to turn off their speakers because unfortunately I can't hear them unless they mute their audio because I'm hearing myself back in the feed. So I think it might be Bernadette. So Bernadette, if you can mute your sound before you ring in, that would be great. Hi, Richard. Richard says it was very interesting. It's not actually Richard, it's Vicky, isn't it? Yeah. John says wonderful. Granny M. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Granny M. I thought that was absolutely fantastic, that information. For somebody to ring in who was actually outside Graceland when the sessions were going on. And she also said about a little bit about they could actually hear, the people said they could hear music. They just couldn't make out what it was. It was sort of like a rumble. Hello, who's calling Elvis the Ultimate Fan channel?
Hello, it's Bernadette.
Well, Bernadette, how are you?
Not so bad, thank you.
And what did you think of the Graceland sessions?
Well, I liked all the songs, but I did have some favourites. I think Never Again is hauntingly beautiful, and I like Hurt.
Yeah.
And She Thinks I Still Care, and It's Easy for You, those four in particular.
Have you ever listened to the undubbed masters? In other words, before Felton got his hands on them?
I've listened to the undubbed version of what do you call it? I've forgotten what I said.
No bother.
I'm a bit nervous.
No. You're amongst friends.
Never Again.
Never Again.
I've listened to the yeah, and it was so beautiful. There was such power in his voice.
Yeah.
It was so raw and emotional.
Now, a lot of people probably from listening to me before know that I'm a more of an undubbed man myself. I would prefer listening to Elvis's recordings before Felton got his hands on them and put strings and voices and so forth. So I would prefer the undubbed masters from the Graceland sessions. But each to their own. You know, some people don't like them too plain. They like the backing singers on them. And they like the horns and the strings and so forth.
Well, I like the backing singers, but unfortunately, at the end of Never Again, for instance, on the Elvis Presley Boulevard album, the backing vocals seem to drown Elvis out virtually.
Yeah.
And it just kind of isn't quite in harmony, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do.
But that might be what you said before about not being able to mix it the same.
One of the ones that stick in my mind, it isn't from the 1976 sessions, it's from the 1970, the ones in Nashville where the marathon, he recorded a whole load of tracks in less than a week, and it's Snowbird. And if you listen to Snowbird undubbed, you can actually hear his whole vocal. But the one that they released, I always think the backing singers are too loud and it drowns out his vocal in parts, and that's what I don't like.
Yes, I've heard the undubbed version of Snowbird. You can hear every word clearly.
Yeah.
I know what you mean about the backing singers, because when they come in, you can't hear him at all, hardly.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't happy.
But,
he wasn't happy with some of the records as they were released. There's a story that goes that the 1975 sessions that produced the LP Today, when he heard the masters after they'd been to New York for mixing and overdubbing, he went absolutely crazy because they didn't sound the same as when he recorded them in the Hollywood recording studio, and he actually threatened to leave RCA and go to a small independent recording company called White Whale. And he was just so upset, so he wasn't always happy with the overdubs.
I can understand why.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Bernadette, carry on.
When he did do something, I've read down through the years, he was a perfectionist. He would, when he did get hold of a song, he'd keep going and going and going until he got it right.
Yes.
He wouldn't stop till he was happy with it.
Yeah. But as time went on, he did less and less takes of things. I think he grew tired of recording as well. That's the unfortunate thing about it. He didn't tire of singing, but he tired of recording, I think, anyway.
Well, I agree with what you said as well about Colonel Parker pushing him. So that could have been a factor. He could have been so exhausted, that he needed to rest.
Yeah. Well,
because
he was doing tours and he was also doing Vegas. And as we know, he kind of really flaked out during 75 and 76. He even had to cancel some dates.
Yeah, because he wasn't well, was he? He was,
exactly.
Like you said yourself, he was in and out of hospital several times.
Yeah.
75 and 76. I was just going to say, when you said the last song he ever recorded was He'll Have to Go.
Yeah.
I thought, how ironic, because he
Yes,
did go, didn't
that's right. It
he?
is. I've
And
always thought that. Yeah, he'll have to go. Yes.
I got a little bit upset when I heard that.
Yeah, it can be quite upsetting. Okay, well, Bernadette, thanks very much for ringing in. It's very, very nice. I'll hope you ring in again when we have another topic. It's always a pleasure to speak to you.
Can I just say what a pleasure it is to be part of the Elvis the Ultimate Fan channel. It's always a pleasure to listen to you and join in the conversations. To anybody who's new to this channel, I know from experience that your channel is the best of all of them. So
that's very, very nice of you to say so. Thank you very much. I always say, actually, it's not my channel as well. It's your channel. It's the people that listen and take part in the fan quiz and make comments and so forth and watch me every week. It's your channel, not my channel. I'm doing it for Elvis. It's all for Elvis.
Well, I would say it's our channel because you run the channel and we join in. So
Yes.
It belongs to you as much as the rest of us. Like you said, we all do it for Elvis, don't we?
Exactly.
So
thank you very much, Bernadette. That's very, very nice of you to say that. Thank you. And thanks for your support.
And it was a pleasure to speak to you finally, Steve.
Yes. All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye. That's Bernadette, friend of mine. We speak quite a bit on social media, obviously about Elvis, our common subject. Chris is agreeing with Bernadette, what she said. You think his voice was much lower at these sessions? Yes, his voice was a lot lower. His voice got a lot lower from about 1972 onwards. Hello, who's calling Elvis the Ultimate Fan channel? Hi, Debbie. Okay. I think that was Debbie Smith, and if it was, if she can turn her audio down, I can hear her. Okay. Can you hear me, Debbie?
Hey, I can hear you, Steve, finally.
Okay, can you turn your audio down? I think you might have already done that, have you?
The only thing that I wanted to say, a couple things.
Okay.
One, Elvis didn't want to go to the studio anymore because he was tired and he got tired of going up there. Sometimes he wouldn't show up at all. Sometimes he'd show up at 5 o'clock in the morning and the band would have been there all night waiting on him.
Yeah. Okay. Just before we go any further, I think I can hear either a radio or a computer in the background. Could you mute that?
You down
yeah. Thanks.
I had you muted and then I turned it back up because I couldn't tell if you were talking to me or somebody else.
I understand. That's no problem. So you think then that you really think that what I said in the notes, that Elvis was just looking for somewhere as close as possible to record, and you couldn't get much closer than the jungle room or the den, could you? He only had to come down a flight of stairs.
Right. Well, he didn't want to do it anyway, and so he said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it here. I'm not going to do it at all. So the colonel had no choice but to go back to RCA. So Charlie Hodge told me. I was friends with Charlie Hodge. I was in the Marine Corps.
Right.
I left in April of '76, and excuse me. And I left in April '77. I'm sorry.
So you were friends with Charlie Hodge, and Charlie Hodge told you all about this, did he?
Oh yeah, he told me that Elvis didn't want to record at all, and that the colonel had no choice but to go back to RCA and see if they could do it at Elvis's house, because he didn't want to go into the studio at all. Didn't want to go to Nashville. Didn't want to have anything to do with none of that. Because he could have recorded Sun. Sun was still open, and Sun still had the capability to do some recordings.
Yeah. I didn't, I never even thought about Sun till now, till you said that. Well, for somebody that didn't want to record, It's Easy for You, Way Down, Pledging My Love, Hurt, Moody Blue, For the Heart.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, he turned out well. It turned out well in the end, didn't it?
Yeah, Hurt is my favorite song.
I was going to ask you, actually.
Song.
Yeah, that's actually
I saw
2
Elvis
votes
in
for Hurt.
concert one time in my whole life, and that was in 1976 in March. He came to St. Louis.
Oh, right.
And that was the last show of that tour. It was the first tour of 76, and his St. Louis show was the last show of that tour. And that was the only time I seen him.
And what was the show like?
And well, see, everybody says it was a bad show. I thought it was a good show, but it was my uncle and aunt gave me the tickets because they had a going away party for me for going in the Marine Corps, and so they gave me the tickets because they knew I liked Elvis, so they got the tickets and gave them to me a year early, pretty much. But they knew I wanted to see him, and he was supposed to come to St. Louis in 77 again. He was scheduled on that tour that before he died, never went on the tour. He was scheduled to come to St. Louis again.
You must have been very young when you saw Elvis in 76, were you?
I was 20.
Wow.
I was 21 when he died.
Yeah. And did you get a good view of the stage?
I'm sorry?
Did you get a good view of Elvis? Were you close to the stage?
I wasn't close to the stage, but in the Kiel Auditorium, there isn't a bad seat. The way they built Kiel, because that's where all the concerts were being held in.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where all the big bands were going and stuff, like Rolling Stone when they came in town and stuff. That's where they all were going. And when they built it, there wasn't a bad seat in the whole house.
Yeah, and
it was like a balcony, and
and people
it was the old style.
People were saying that it was a bad show, but any show that you see Elvis can't be a bad one. That's for sure.
He looked tired. He looked really tired. He rushed through a lot of songs, and usually when he does Hurt, he sings it twice because it's such a short song. It doesn't take him long to get through it. So normally when he does it, he usually gets a standing ovation, and then he usually sings it twice.
Yeah.
He did not sing it twice when he was in St. Louis. He sang it one time.
Yeah.
And he rushed through all his songs, all his old songs that he always did, like Teddy Bear and stuff.
Yeah.
He rushed through them and didn't sing half the words.
Yeah.
Charlie sang more of the words than he did. You could tell he wasn't moving his mouth. He was just standing up there.
He kind of rushed through those oldies from a long way back, though. Even in 1970, 71, he kind of rushed through them anyway. He was almost like he was tired of doing them, but he knew that people would want to hear them. So
he just really looked tired. He just really, I mean, I guess with it being the last show of the touring session, he probably was tired too. But I mean, he just really looked tired.
Yeah.
His eyes looked kind of droopy, kind of tired and stuff. I mean, everybody always says he was heartbroken over Priscilla. I don't think so, because I don't think he wanted to get married to begin with. But that's my opinion. A lot of people have other opinions, but that's my opinion.
Well, you're quite welcome to your opinion. Definitely, everybody is entitled to their opinion. So, no problem.
Right.
We have no problem you saying that.
He was more hurt over Linda leaving, I think, than he was over Priscilla leaving.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, Linda always accompanied him to places like car dealerships and places around Graceland, and rode on the back of a motorcycle all the time and stuff. Priscilla never did any of that.
That's a very good point.
Well, she rode on the back of the motorcycle, and she rode on the golf carts, but she never went to a car. You never see pictures of her going to a car dealership buying cars, do you?
Good point.
No,
Debbie,
she didn't do it.
Thanks very much for ringing in. And it's been, I was very, very interested to hear about you seeing Elvis in person. And I always want to hear from people who saw Elvis in person. So when we do these phone-ins, if people want to ring in and tell me about when they went to see Elvis, I will be all ears. I really will.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Debbie.
There was a lady. Oh, let me tell you, this is funny. There was a lady that rushed to the stage in St. Louis and actually got up to Elvis.
All right.
And it took 5 Memphis Mafia people to get him off of her. And he turned around and looked at all of us and said, "What's wrong with all you people up here?" It was funny. That was funny.
Yeah. Very funny.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. All the best.
Bye.
Bye. What a lovely, lovely lady. And what a lovely story as well. What a lovely story. That was Debbie. Okay, let's get this back up and running. I think it's time I did the Fan of the Month quiz. And it is the last of July. It's the final one. So when I come back to you again, I will have a winner for July. The theme today is Elvis movie double features. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions from a movie and 3 questions from another movie. And they are Clambake and Double Trouble. So the first 3 are from Clambake and then the second 3 are from Double Trouble. If everybody is ready, if you want to call in, just leave it until after the Fan of the Month quiz and then you can give me another ring because it'll just break up the quiz if somebody rings in. So here we go. Question 1. Which studio distributed Clambake? What studio was it? We've seen it so many times. Have we seen the symbol at the start of the movie? That's all I need from you, is the name of the movie studio that did Clambake. Mary Jane. No, it wasn't Paramount. United Artists, Roseanne. Hi, Roseanne Dalby. It was United Artists. Yes. Oh, look at all these people now coming through and saying United Artists. Falconetti, it wasn't MGM. I'm sorry. MGM, Disney. It wasn't Disney, that's for sure. United Artists. Yeah, a lot of people there. Jake, United Artists. Jack says, "Hi, Jack. How are you getting on? You're not hiking today, no?" Wasn't Paramount. I'm surprised at you, Jack. Right, I'm going to let that wash through and then I'm going to... Hi, Roseanne. I'm going to let that wash through and then I'm going to ask you question number 2 on Clambake. Oh, Falconetti is in tears. Yeah, Arkansas, my moderator, says Roseanne. So we agree to agree. Thanks, Dave. You're doing a great job, Dave. Ruth says United Artists. Yes, Ruth. Netflix. That's a good answer, Joseph. That's a really good answer. What was the name? Oh, hang on. Question 2. What was the name of Elvis's character in Clambake? It's early here. Yeah, that's what it is. You haven't had your coffee yet, Jack. Yeah. Early Sunday morning. Okay. Oh, by the way, Angel Baby, I'm sorry to hear that you were not well this week. I hope you start feeling better soon. Scott Haywood, Nancy A. Well done, Nancy. Okay. Keith. JC22, Helen Murray, Helen Ludlow. Yeah, Jake Bailiff says Scott Haywood, Tom Wilson. Yeah. A lot of Scott Haywoods coming through. Chris says she hasn't seen Clambake for a while. I think it was on satellite there a few weeks ago. I think it was. Hi, Banjo. Banjo Paul. BP Monkman. Hi, BP. Scott Haywood. Question 3. Name the actor that Elvis swapped places with. I want the actor's name, not the character's name. Hello, C says, I love the soundtracks for Tickle Me, Paradise Hawaiian Style, and Blue Hawaii. Very sort of vacation-y. Okay. Linda stuck more by Elvis's side. Will Hutchins. Roseanne again. That's a double now for Roseanne. Roseanne Dolby. JC22. Lou Dane. Mark says Peter Sellers. Vincenzo, you got it right, Vincenzo. Nice to speak to you, Vincenzo, earlier on. Hi, Steve. Steve says Will Hutchins. Helen Murray says Bill Bixby. No, he didn't swap with Bill Bixby. He swapped with Will Hutchins. Deb Smith, yes, Will Hutchins. Sparbara says, I don't know the answer, but I can give you the bonus information. The German title of the movie is Clambake nur nicht Millionär Scene. That's very interesting, that, Sparbara. Elvis's least favourite film was Clambake. Okay. Bossa Nova Baby says, Peter Sellers, laugh out loud. Peter Sellers is actually remarked on and mentioned by Larry in the first episode, or the first part of the interview I did with Larry Geller. If you haven't heard that yet, it's The Elvis I Knew by Larry Geller, and part 2 is coming up on Wednesday. Not two films I've watched too often. That's why, Lee, I've picked them, believe it or not. I might pick, when I do double features again, I might pick 2 of his better known films. But I've already done, I think I did Jailhouse Rock and King Creole. Right, that's washed through. So we're now going to start on 3 questions for Double Trouble. Okay, here we go. Name Elvis's British female co-star that played Jill Conway in Double Trouble. Name Elvis's British female co-star who played Jill Conway in Double Trouble. I might do that, Danny B-side. I might do Love Me Tender and Loving You. Uh-oh, Bip. Never seen Double Trouble. Danny B-side says Annette Day. Yes, correct. Danny B. It was her only film. She made one film. John, no, it's not a trilogy. It's 2 parts. So the second part is the culmination. However, Larry did say that he would want to speak to me again sometime, so it could be a trilogy, but at the moment it's just a 2-parter. Now, as I was saying about Annette Day, it was her one and only film, and after making Double Trouble, she decided that movie making wasn't for her, and she quit the business. And I've been trying to get hold of Annette because I would love to speak to her, but she hasn't agreed, unfortunately. Danny B-side says, lives in Telford now beside me. She certainly does. She lives in Telford, and I contacted a fella who lives in Telford and does a Telford newspaper. He's the editor of a Telford newspaper who interviewed Annette, and he had her telephone number, and he rang Annette, left a message on her answering machine saying that I was interested in speaking to her, but nothing ever come of it, unfortunately. I don't know, Danny, maybe you could pop down there and see her if you can find out where she lives. And tell her what a great guy I am. Question 2. What studio distributed Double Trouble? If you can tell me what studio it was. I heard Elvis didn't like working with her. I think he did because he bought her a car. MGM. Danny B-side. Danny, I don't think I'm saying welcome back, but I don't know if everybody else is. That's 2 you got in a row there. That's 2 to Roseanne, 1 to Nancy, and 2 to Danny B-side. A lot of people coming through there with MGM. A lot of people coming through there. Jack, well done, Jack. Steve S. BP Monkman. For long enough, she didn't want to talk about it much. Yeah, I know, that's what I think my problem is. I just don't think she's interested in talking about it. It's so long ago, 1966, 67. Okay. Sixth and final question for July. So there will be a winner when I see you again. Who wrote the song Double Trouble? The title song Double Trouble. Let's see if we know. Paul, you're right. It was MGM. Deb Smith says, hey, Danny. Okay. Sorry, Angel Baby, if you haven't seen him. Okay. It was two singers. I'll give you a clue. Two singers. No, Jack, it wasn't Kay and Weissman. Kurt Cobain? Doc Who? Yeah, Doctor Who. that was a good series, that. Wasn't Lieber and Stoller, no. Okay. I'm going to give that to Jeanette. She broke it down, but it is actually Doc Pomus and Mort Schumann. And checking, I think she said Doc Pomus, and then she did another one which was Mort Schumann. So Jeanette, well done, Jeanette. That concludes the Fan of the Month quiz for July. If anybody wants to ring me about the subject we've been discussing tonight, which was the 1976 Graceland recordings, please do. Before I do Song of the Week, I have to say that I am leaving you. Yes, I want a divorce. I'm leaving you. You be tripping, Doc Pumps and Mort Schumann. Pumps looks like it's some sort of spell check mistake or predictive text, but I know what you meant, you be tripping. I do know what you meant. Hello, Bobby Hall. Why don't you address my comments? Bobby, I don't actually see all the comments, but there is a way of highlighting a comment. At the bottom of the where you type out your comments, there's a $sign, and you can send me a super chat, and the super chats stay on the screen until I address them. So if there's anything in particular anybody wants to address, or me to address, send me a super chat. That's the only thing I can say. I don't ignore anybody's comments, deliberately. It's not a deliberate thing. It's just that I don't see all the comments, but I do appreciate them all. Okay, yeah. So as I was saying, I'm leaving you. I want a divorce, but it's not for good. Some people would say, I am taking a vacation. So this is the last live stream until August the 4th, Wednesday, August the 4th. So there'll be no live stream this coming Wednesday, and a week today there will be no live stream either. However, I do want to tell you that there is part 2 of Larry's interview on Wednesday. So instead of me being here at 7:30 or whatever time it is with you on a Wednesday, I will be posting Larry's part 2. Danny says, have a nice holiday. I certainly will. What do you mean you'll be leaving us? It's only temporarily. It's only temporarily, BP. Dave says vacate. Correct. Vacation. Whew, I could do with one. Okay, so this day in history. This day in history. Let's get this day in history. July 25th, 1954. Elvis's First Son single continues to grow in popularity. So you can imagine what was going on in Elvis's head in 1954. Beyond his wildest dreams, he probably never thought it could be as good as it was. In 1955, Elvis performed at the New City Auditorium, Fort Myers, Florida. In 1956, he was enjoying what I'm going to be enjoying shortly. He was on vacation in Biloxi with June Juanico, and his mother and father came down as well, I believe. They went fishing, didn't they? Deep sea fishing. 1957, Elvis enjoys his first summer break at Graceland after completion of Jailhouse Rock. 1961, getting ready to leave Hollywood for Florida for externals shooting, a location shooting on Follow That Dream. 1963, they were staying. Him and the group were staying at the Sahara Hotel, Las Vegas, for location shooting for Viva Las Vegas. 1964, Girl Happy, Fort Lauderdale, and 1966, the movie we actually mentioned earlier on, Double Trouble. In 1966, he was shooting with Annette Day. Double Trouble. 1968, Elvis is in California, relaxing before heading to Apache Junction for filming of his next movie, Charo. 1969, now this is an interesting one. Elvis attended the Barbra Streisand show and remarked to Charlie, "It looks like a hell of a big stage to fill. This is not the way it's going to be for me, though," he says. "He will be surrounded by his band and backup singers. He will not be alone." She cut a very solitary figure on the big stage at the International, but he had his backing singers and Charlie and Jerry and Ronnie and all those people behind him. 1971, he was in the High Sierra Room, Sahara Tahoe, State Line, Nevada. 2 shows per night, 8 and midnight. In 1973, this is an interesting one. It was the last night of the recording sessions in Stax. He recorded Girl of Mine, and then he walked out simply because he said at one point that he thought his voice sounded funny. And then it was Al Pachuki, the engineer, said, "Well, you're not using your microphone because we've mislaid your original vocal mic, or it's been stolen." And so Elvis walked out after just recording one song, unfortunately, on the 24th/25th of July. He was there from 11 to 3. And the band then went on to record backing tracks for Good, Bad, But Beautiful, Color My Rainbow, Sweet Angeline, and The Wonders You Perform. And as we know now, he only put vocals to Sweet Angeline. He never recorded Good, Bad, But Beautiful, Color My Rainbow, and The Wonders You Perform. He recorded the Sweet Angeline vocal track in September at his Palm Springs home, Chino Canyon. 1974, he was on a vacation in Hawaii. 1976, now I have some pictures here for you. Elvis performed at the Onondaga War Memorial Auditorium. I hope I'm saying that. Syracuse. Is it Syracuse or Syracuse? New York. And it's quite an interesting picture, because if you look at this picture, you've got, just in front of Elvis there, you've got Ed Parker. Then next to him in the white shirt, you've got Sam Thompson. Just behind Sam, you've got Al Strada. Just to Al's left, you've got, in a white and goldish shirt, you've got Charles Stone, who was on this channel. I interviewed Charles. He did all the tour work and so forth, and organization. And then what looks like, just over Elvis's shoulder, Joe Esposito. And is that Linda in the brown suit? Is that Linda? I'm almost certain it is. It looks like he's maybe getting ready to leave the stage or coming on. Ruth says, "I was at the Syracuse, New York show." Wow, that's very, very interesting, Ruth. Do you remember if Linda was there, and was she wearing that brown suit? Very interesting, that one. There's a lot going on in that picture. JD just above Elvis's head. I'd imagine that he is just getting ready to... John says that is Linda Thompson in the photo. I think it's Morgan Fairchild. Looks like Linda to me. Yeah, it's quite rare to see Linda in a concert picture. You either see her when they're leaving the auditorium or arriving at the auditorium, or leaving the hotel or arriving at the hotel. but to actually see her in a photograph is quite rare, I think, anyway. And yeah, I think he's probably walking along, getting ready to shake hands before he leaves the stage. But I'm not 100% sure why Linda would have been there. Would Linda not have been in the limo waiting for him to leave the stage? And so they could get away quick. So that's quite a rare one, I think, anyway. Yes, it is J.D. Sumner, just behind Joe. Yeah, immediately above Elvis's head. So there you go. In 1977, he was in Graceland. Just chilling. The picture of the week. If everybody would like to get ready with their medication, their blood pressure medicine, and get ready to run the shower, the cold shower. This is quite an unusual photograph. It's an in-concert photograph, but it doesn't show Elvis's face. I'll say no more. I'll just show you the picture. The chief, or Indian feather jumpsuit, as some people call it. Ruth says Linda's getting ready to leave. She probably is, yes. Is that Larry in the glasses? That's a good question. Let's have a look. No, the glasses is actually... the one in the yellow shirt with glasses is Al Strada, and the other person just to his left is Charles Stone, I believe. I don't think Larry's in that picture. Okay, so there's pick of the week anyway. Let's go back to that. I'm off in shower soon, and it will be cool. Bossa Nova Baby says, ooh, nice buh. Yeah, cool. I thought it was quite quirky to find a photograph like that, but doesn't show Elvis's face. I have to say as well, that is courtesy of Lisa Lauren, who runs Elvis Photos. She sent that to me, and I asked her if I could use it, and she says, work away. So thanks, Lisa Lauren. I'm going to do my song of the week now. And as always, I leave that picture there is the picture I used for the February 1976 recording sessions taken in the TV room, that one. Sarah Cruz. Okay, right. Song of the week. I'm going right back to the very beginning of Elvis's RCA recording career. January 1956. It was written by Don Robertson and Ross Jungnickel. Jungnickel, that's a very unusual name, isn't it? Jungnickel. There were 17 takes. He had a recording session at for RCA Nashville Studios, January the 10th, Tuesday, and January the 11th, Wednesday. It was only the fourth song out of the 5 songs that he recorded that day, or those 2 days. And it was the first song he recorded on January the 11th, Wednesday. It's I'm Counting on You. Now, this is very odd because when I look at the recording schedules and the recording sheets and so forth, we find that even though he did 17 takes and 17 was the master, takes 1 and 2 were incomplete. 12 and 13 and 14 were complete. And then, as I say, we have take 17, which was a master. Would you believe that according to the documentation, we've got take 3 all the way through to 11 were recorded over. Now, I can't imagine anybody wanting to record over Elvis Presley's recordings, but of course this was still early days and this was his very, very first recording session for RCA. So we've lost, by the looks of it, we've lost takes 3 all the way to 11, and also they think that probably take 15 and 16 were recorded over as well. Now what I'm going to do is, I think I've lost part of this. I'm going to give you take 3. No, hang on a second. Take 1 I'm going to give you, which fades out because it's incomplete, and also take 13. And if you compare the two, you may notice the hesitancy in Elvis's delivery on the first take, as he was unfamiliar with the song. However, it's still a fantastic recording and worthy of release. So take 1 and take 13. By the time they got to take 13, Elvis was hitting his stride. Him and the band had also speeded up the delivery slightly. And the master take, as I said, was take 17. It's a wonderful, wonderful song. I'll give you the links down below for take 1 and take 13, and you can compare the two yourself. Very, very young, early Elvis. And if anybody else, I can give somebody another 5 minutes if they wish, if they want to ring in and speak to me about the Graceland sessions. Don't be shy. I won't bite. Okay, let's see what we got here. King Elvis Forever. Thanks, Green Frog. Don't forget, anybody that's new, if they want to do me a favor by clicking on the bell, turning it black by selecting all, and that would be great, because then you'll be notified of any new videos. Classic young Elvis voice. Yes. Ruth says she'll be at Graceland during Elvis week. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Dave says, will Ruth be doing autographs? I hope so. I hope so. And as I said before, I'm actually looking forward to the book, because the information that Ruth was giving me, she's definitely got there's definitely a book in there, without doubt. Yeah, Mark says she's lucky. Yeah, 5107, I agree. I love early Elvis. The Sun stuff and the first stuff in the 56s and 57s in RCA, just great. Just great. Like I say, please do check out those links, because you can compare the very, very first take and then take 13, and you'll hear the difference in it. I didn't want to just post the master take, because I'm sure we're all pretty... I'm pretty sure we're... Okay, Jeanette says that she tried calling, but it failed. I don't know whether you've actually sent me a hi yet on the messenger. You do actually have to send a hi to me first. That's what Ruth did. She said, hi, Steve. And no, I don't see you saying hello to me yet. You have to go in and you have to find, the one with the little Elvis on it, and then send me hi. But don't worry, Jeanette, you can always speak to me next time. I will just reiterate what I said. I am going on vacation, so there is no live stream this Wednesday and next Sunday. I'm back on August the 4th. But I am posting the Larry Geller Part 2 interview on Wednesday. I won't leave you completely adrift. See you when you come back, Steve. Thanks very much. He's going to eat. Good man. I hope you're going to have some lovely pasta or something like that. Wouldn't that be lovely now? So yeah, I said earlier, no show Wednesday, but there will be the second part of Larry Geller, and no show next Sunday as I am on vacation, but I will see you when I come back on Wednesday the 4th. As I always say, I so much appreciate your support. I couldn't do it without you. It's your channel. Please take care while I'm away. I wouldn't want to lose any of you, because you're my Elvis family. We're Elvis family. Don't forget, if you want to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee using the link below. Until August the 4th, take care of yourselves, and thank you for watching.